Good evening. This is Tony Marotta of Radio Italia of Cleveland, reporting here from the Greater Youngstown Italian Festival that's taking place here in the square of downtown Youngstown, and I have the pleasure of interviewing the man you see sitting right next to me, an absolutely dynamic performer who's been a good friend of mine now for the last few years. I want to take and introduce everybody to Micheal Castaldo.
Grazie per avermi sul tuo programma, Tony. Sei grande. Thank you so much for having me on your show.
No, thank you very much, Michael, for giving me this time, because I know you're going to be on stage here fra poco tempo, but
in a little while.
I want to take and definitely spend some time with you to give people, not only people that listen to my show regularly, but those people maybe who also listen to it online through the internet, and even now with a video of some time that we spend together here.
Video is the way to do it. With YouTube, it's the way to put the story out there.
Great, and I thank you again for this.
You're welcome.
All right, let's begin with what is bringing us all here, and it's this pretty awesome recording, if you don't mind me saying, Bergamo, that I had the pleasure...
I don't mind you saying it at all.
That I had the pleasure of getting my hands on first.
You were the first.
And I want to thank you for that.
Absolutely. It was perfect timing. You were in New York.
That's
How
right.
could we let you go without getting you a copy?
Yes. This here we've talked about in the past with some of the interviews that we've done, Michael, over the air on our show, is your labor of love. What I called it un capolavoro. Talk about it a little bit, please.
The idea of Bergamo was actually planted about 3 years ago. And I was thinking about it, letting it stew, and trying to figure out how to tell my story with a more rhythmic, more pulsating, more festive record. And that's how I usually work on any of my projects. I kind of take notes and live with it. And about 9 months ago, 10 months ago or so, is when we started actually the recording process, the arrangement of it, and just kind of putting all the pieces of the puzzle. I knew I wanted a record that was going to be more danceable, because up to that point it was 5 CDs, all ballads, a few that had some rhythm to it, but I wanted something more danceable. Then I said, well, okay, how am I going to work this thing out? Other great artists, such as Andrea Bocelli, has had other CDs that have some rhythm to it. Otherwise, again, it's all ballads. But I didn't want to do that. I wanted to tell my story. My story is, I'm a son of southern Italy, from the region of Calabria. And I was thinking, okay, how about if I do something all in the dialect, or the language of Calabria? You know, you have these great Neapolitan singers.
Oh, sure.
So I wanted to represent. And then I was thinking about all the influences that has happened. And you said it best in your editorial, Iberian. I've been saying Spanish, and I like Iberian.
You like it? Thank you.
And so obviously Spain dominated southern Italy for 3 centuries. And I had worked on a project where I had brought some flamenco elements. And it was okay. I got mixed reaction because it was done really, really fast. So one thing that I learned from that project was to do it right and take your time. And I said, I want to revisit that vibe, that style. And this time with the Bergamo CD, we brought all the elements together, great musicians, great engineers. We recorded in Italy, in Norway, Canada, and the US. And after 9 months, you say labor of love, it was labor for 9 months, over 1,000 hours.
And how many songs?
There's 13 songs, I don't know, 12 songs.
But how many did you have at one point under consideration?
Oh my God, 30 songs, yes. I mean, we'll consider many songs and then dwindle down. Right. I'll do kind of a focus group. Being an entrepreneur, you're always thinking about the end result.
Right.
Who is your end listener?
Right.
My doubt was, would the Calabrian language be accepted? Because it's been standard that any Calabrian CD was always folk music.
Always. What else is there after all, right?
And believe it, there's a station, I'm not going to mention it, up in Canada that won't play us because it's sung in the Calabrian language and not in Italian. Could you believe that? So I still have to get over that. But I didn't know how everyone was going to respond. And you got the CD first, and your call just came at a perfect moment. You had just arrived in Cleveland, and you were driving back home, and you put the CD in the car, and you started listening to it, and you called me right away. I think by then I had probably either arrived into Toronto, because we were leaving the same day out of LaGuardia.
Out of LaGuardia, yes.
And it was a great feeling to have, because you were the first one to come back with the response, with the final product. And it's been unbelievable since then. We've been now on the charts 5 weeks, still #1 in the hot new releases on Amazon. We just released our 3rd video, tribute to Sophia Loren.
Yes, I saw that.
With the song of say Amina Fimmana, and it's our fastest rising video right now. We're just short of 5,000 views to hitting 300,000 on YouTube.
Imagine that, huh?
Yeah, so this is going to take it over the top, this interview.
There we go. This is great. And again, Michael, you were saying that there are 12 songs on there. And how did you decide to finally, when you broke it down, to come up with the particular playlist, set list, if you will?
The sequencing you're talking about?
The sequencing, right.
My mentor, Anne Ruckert, she's, after I graduated from music school in Boston, she was the one that said, Mike, you got to come to New York. Don't forget about going to LA or Nashville or back home to Canada. New York is the place. They got the best rhythm sections there. And she's a fantastic woman. And for all my last 3 records, I always get together with her and we do a listening session. And we look at the keys, we look at the tempos, and we tell a story. We tell a story in that sequencing of effects. And not only did you mention that you like the sequencing, but others have mentioned it as well. So there's an art form to knowing how to sequence a CD. So I owe that to Anne Ruckert.
Good.
Yes.
So shout out to her.
A big shout out to Anne. We love you, baby.
All right. Well, at this point here, Michael, where can people expect to see you next after today?
After today, I have a really great, exciting event taking place on August 15th. I'm not sure if you will have this edited by then, but it's going to be in New York City at the New York Botanical Gardens. And this is an event called Wild Medicine, featuring the Italian Renaissance Garden. And for the past 3 months, June, July, and August, they had an event once a month featuring a few Italian artists, a jazz artist, singer-songwriter, and I now close the event in August. I'm going to have a string quartet with me. They have a beautiful tent and this enclave of grass where people bring their chairs and their blankets and the experience. And we're going to do an olive oil tasting at the same time. So wild medicine, the original wild medicine, olive oil. And so I have my staff that's going to be helping me out. We're going to do an olive oil presentation from 6 to 7, and then a performance 7 to 8, with a few encores. So I'm really excited about it because it's going to be a whole different demographic, a whole different audience. And they're expecting like 600 to 800 people there.
Very nice.
So when they said, Mike, make sure you have enough oil for 600 to 800 people, I said, we're almost at the end of the season. Then after that, the Sergio Franchi Memorial Concert.
Done by Eva, correct?
Eva Franchi, yes, up in Stonington, Connecticut. And that's Saturday, August 24th. I've been waiting almost 3-4 years to get onto that. So I'm really, really excited. I went last year to just, go and show my support. Other friends were on stage, and they have a beautiful orchestra, and it's a beautiful estate, the Franchi estate, and everybody brings their picnic baskets and enjoys the show. It's in the afternoon, and Ava is so funny. She's wonderful. So I'm looking forward to that. But it's only a few songs. But it's going to be in front of 5,000 to 8,000 people, and just being in the presence of great artistry will be fun.
Absolute honor.
Yeah, absolutely. Sergio Franchi, before he came to the States, he went to South Africa.
Right.
And last year, my wife and I, we went and celebrated our anniversary in South Africa. So there's the connection. The connection there, right. To that. Yeah. September is going to be extremely busy. Quite a few events. A good friend of mine started a new organization called Sempre Avanti. And it's a resource center for Italians. She just started a couple of months ago, and so she's going to do a launch of her foundation, and it's going to be with the great legendary DJ out of Brooklyn, Joe Causey. He's going to be DJing that evening. I'm going to be singing. So it's a 70s night, a disco night. So I'm going to bring my Rio and Spettupetia, all the up-tempo, 120 beats per minute songs for that set there. And that'll be in Nutley, New Jersey. All this information is available on my website.
Which, by the way, is?
MichealCastaldo.com. All right. And we're still waiting to see if the Festi San Gennaro is going to happen. Yes. They always make the decision on their entertainment at the last minute. I've done it for the last couple of years, but we'll have to wait and see what's going to happen. Then, two other important festivals in New Jersey. The 27th, which is a Friday night, I'm headlining the Mercer County Festival. And it's one of the largest festivals in the East Coast, New York, New Jersey. It's a 3-day festival, and I think they get over 175,000 people to come there. And it's a beautiful campground, and I'll have a string quartet at that. And then 2 days later, on the 29th, down in Gloucester County at the Riverwinds Park, right across the river from Philadelphia, the Gloucester Italian Heritage Festival concert. So I'm very, very excited to do those. This is the second year they're bringing me back. Caterina Dawson, the president, she's a big fan. She's from Calabria. And she's helped me out quite a bit. I had another event last year, and she came and manned my merchandise table.
There you go.
Yeah. And then October, if all goes well, be doing the Christopher Columbus, the Columbus Day Parade on Fifth Avenue. Hasn't been yet determined, but they had me last year. It was a wonderful experience. I had these dancers from Sicily who are coming again this year. So if we're going to be on the red carpet, as they say, I'll have them join me, and they just usually one song. But that's, great exposure, on ABC TV. And then October 20th, we have an event at the Suffolk Theater, this historic theater in Riverhead, New York. And the chef is an award-winning chef, and we're going to be doing a home menu around Calabria. That's going to involve olive oil and balsamic and bergamot. And it's a matinee show, again, with a string quartet, beautiful Art Deco theater. And nice program that we plan to do for
Micheal, il tuo piatto è pieno.
È molto pieno, ma non è per, come si dice, perché sto dormendo.
That's right. All right. Micheal, how about if we maybe wrap up this interview with talking a little bit about some of the foundations and some of the things that you do when you're not performing music. There's a great deal of things that you're involved in.
One of the things I'd like to discuss and your viewers to understand is that I feel blessed, and I like to give back as much as I can. One of the things that I do is I have this little convertible car. It's called a Miata. It's a 93 classic. I have over 90 add-ons to it to personalize it. And I take underprivileged children, teens, or adults, to use a musical term, who are suffering from the blues. And I take them on joyrides. And all expenses paid. I take them out for lunch or brunch. It lasts anywhere from half an hour if it's a young child, up to 4 hours. And we have these planned scenic routes. Now, anybody could do this, but we went one step ahead, and we have these 4 video cameras mounted on the car, like NASCAR, and that videotapes the whole entire experience. And so we give them a DVD of the highlights of the trip. So if they're feeling down, they put it in, and it brings up their spirits. It's been known, it's proven that any outdoor activity, the endorphins kick in after 15, 20 minutes. And if they're feeling down, this picks them up. If they don't want to talk, no problem. We just drive and they take in the scenery. If they want to chat, I do my best to talk about anything they want to. If they want to listen to music, it's iPod ready. Give them a little history music lesson. And we do this privately. We don't disclose who it is for privacy reasons, of course. Who wants to put it out there that they're feeling blue? And I do this seasonally, from May till October, once a week, weather permitting. and it's called ladolcevitafoundation.org.
That's that side of you that sort of nourishes you a little bit, or maybe a lot.
It helps me a lot as well too. Believe me, I'm the driver, so as they're getting some healing, it feeds off of we feed off of each other. So it's I'll continue until this car dies. I think it's got 113,000 miles on it. Hopefully it won't die while I'm taking them on a joyride.
Absolutely.
But it's a wonderful experience, and I was inspired to put it together by the Make-A-Wish Foundation. And would you believe the Make-A-Wish Foundation provides all these wishes except for rides and cars?
Well, now you take care of that.
Yes.
Michael, you were here last night. Let's wrap up this interview here with just a little bit of talk about how last night went.
Last night was phenomenal. We had a great time. We had an 11-piece orchestra. It was the closing act, and it was wonderful. A lot of celebrities, radio personalities such as yourself, like our good friend Vince Camp was there, and other festival coordinators were there as well. And got back here today, and the festival organizers here at the Great.
What can we expect tonight, Michael?
Tonight's going to be a completely different set than what I did yesterday. And opening up with the great Conte Partirò. That gathers everybody because it's a worldwide hit. And we're going to end with L'Arcobaleno. Over the Rainbow.
Over the Rainbow.
Yes, from my Aceto CD. And in between, some surprises, a few songs from the Bergamo CD. And I have my engineer from New York, Rick, who's going to be doing a combination of audio stems along with the orchestra on stage, so it'll be nice and full. And tell us some stories in between the songs and entertain.
Sounds like it's going to be fabulous.
We're looking forward to it.
Micheal, ti voglio ringraziare di nuovo.
Tony,
thank you so much.
Grazie a te. Sempre sei grande, sei forte e il tuo supporto lo meriti tanto per quello che fa, non solo per me, ma per tutti gli artisti nella comunità. I really appreciate it.
I'm happy to do that, Michael.
Thank you.
All right, with that, this is Tony Marotta reporting again from downtown Youngstown, and we'll return now back to our regularly scheduled programming.